So we've got our signed contractor bid, and now we're ready to move on to the appraisal. So as you know, the appraiser's job is to let you know what that house is worth so that the bank knows if they can loan for that home or deliver a mortgage, write a mortgage for that home. Well, using the Makeover Mortgage Process, the appraiser is going to take the current value of the home and they're going to add the bid to that future value. So the appraiser is going to determine the after renovated value or after repaired value, often called the ARV. This is going to give our client a little boost in equity, and that's going to be part of where we get some of our renovation money from. We'll talk about that later. So the appraiser is going to need a very detailed bid. This is another good reason to have a contractor who's done a renovation loan before, who's done a 203K or a home style or is part of our preferred network. Any contractor part of our preferred network is going to deliver a very detailed bid. That way, when an appraiser walks into your home and walks into each room that's going to have a renovation done on it, they know exactly what's going on. If an appraiser sees new shower, but they don't know if it's going to be a fiberglass surround or a tile shower, then it's going to be very hard to give that bathroom its proper value. So having a very detailed bid that lines everything out is going to give that appraiser the opportunity to give your home, or rather your buyer's home, the highest after renovated value possible. We got our appraisal back and we're good to go. What that means is our purchase price plus our renovation cost is equal to or less than that appraisal value that we just received. It's now time for those oh so sweet words, clear to close. Underwriting does its thing. They make sure that the borrower is ready to go, tell them how much money they need to bring to the closing table, and we schedule closing. You've done this a million times. At this point, you go into closing, you collect your commission check, the clients get their paperwork, and you're done. The realtor's job is now over. It's time to go on to that next project. Now Makeover Homes and the Makeover Mortgage Process take the client from renovation to the time that they get those keys and get to move in to their lovely new home. So now your part is over and it's time for the renovation to begin. So once that project closes, money is put into escrow to allow that contractor to get started. The renovation begins, they start working on the roof, the foundation, the bathroom, the kitchen, whatever it is that needs to be done. The client, the HUD consultant, and the contractor all work together to make sure that the project goes smooth, the right amount of work is being done, and that contractor is being paid properly by the lender. Ultimately, when the project is finished, the client is able to then move in, the contractor is paid in full for the work that he's done, and your client is now left with a beautiful home, one mortgage payment to make at the end or the beginning of each month, and they're happy ever after. So the renovation is complete, and now it's time to move in. Depending on the size of the renovation, sometimes your clients are able to move in right at closing. If the renovation is going to be a new HVAC system and a new roof, those are the kinds of things that a client can actually move into the house and live in and still have that renovation being done. However, if the house maybe had a bunch of mold, or if all of the floors are going to be ripped up and new floors going down along with a new kitchen and new bathroom, then you're not going to be able to have your client move in immediately. The client won't be able to move in until that renovation is completed. For this reason, our program has built in an additional 6 months worth of mortgage payments that you can build right into your mortgage. So if you have a really big renovation coming up, you don't have to fear that you're going to have to make a rent payment and a mortgage payment. You can build a couple months of that mortgage payment right into your mortgage. That way, you've got several months. You're only going to make your rent payment, and as soon as that renovation is done, you get the keys and you get the clear to move in. Now the project's over. It took a little bit of extra time to get the renovation taken care of, to get the contractor's bid, and let the HUD consultant manage the project. But overall, your client now gets to end up with 100% of the house they wanted rather than 80 or 90% of the house they wanted. And depending on the reason for the renovation, that was a deal that maybe wouldn't have closed otherwise. A new roof that cost $13,000, $14,000 is a real deal breaker. Oftentimes, the seller doesn't have that money to just replace their roof. And oftentimes, if it's an FHA loan, you have to have that roof done before closing. So we're able to help you save those deals if a small issue on the inspection turned into a large issue for your seller. We're able to knock out those problems, get those renovations done, and then hand over the keys to your client to move into the home that they've always wanted. So your client's happy, and you got to close more deals. All right, so the most important part is, what are the steps that you need to take to be ready to use the Makeover Mortgage Process? Well, the first step, and arguably the most important, is to get your client dual pre-approved. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to use the Makeover Mortgage Process, but the lender that you used doesn't have the ability to do a renovation loan, then you're kind of stuck. Now you've got to have your client, your buyer, fill out new paperwork with a new lender. It's going to take another 4, 5, 6 days, and it's going to ultimately push back your project, and it could potentially hamper your ability to actually keep that deal under contract. There are a bunch of sellers out there that don't want to take the time, they don't want to wait, and rather than deal with you and wait for your client to get pre-approved, they're just going to go use another buyer. So you want to make sure that you send your clients to the Makeover Mortgage pre-approval form. This is going to be a place for them to fill in their basic information and let us know what they're about. Once we have their basic info, we're then going to send them to one of our preferred lenders. One of our preferred lenders is going to get them pre-approved, more importantly, dual pre-approved, and then let you know, hey, your client's been dual pre-approved and they can spend this much money. If they want to do a renovation, they can. If they don't, they just want to buy a house that's ready, they can do that as well. Then your next step, if your client is a conventional buyer, once the offer is made, you can skip the HUD consultant piece. You're going to go straight to ordering a contractor. So let's say you have a conventional buyer. Turns out they want to do a renovation and add a garage, 2-car garage to their house. They can go to the Find a Contractor form, get it filled out, let us know what they'd like to do, what their budget might be, and then we're going to get a contractor introduced and sent to their job site within the week. However, if your client is using an FHA project or your lender has told you that a HUD consultant will be required, then you can click here and fill out the HUD consultant form. HUD consultant form is going to basically let us know, hey, I'm ready to go on this house, but I need a HUD consultant to come in, put together my scope of work, and let me know what can be done, what's feasible. On the sheet, you'll see that we're going to ask about working with a loan officer already. Do you already have a contractor? And most importantly, are you already working with the realtor? If so, they have the opportunity to let us know who they're working with in each of these cases. So depending on the kind of job that you're doing, whether it be FHA or conventional, you've got a slightly different step. And then after that step is made, you sit back and you let us do the rest. Once we know that the HUD consultant is or is not needed, we automatically know the next steps in the puzzle. We know who to send the paperwork to, and we know what needs done. So ultimately, you just need to make sure that your client is dual pre-approved, either with one of our preferred lenders or with a lender of their own that can perform a renovation loan. Once the offer is made on the home, are you using a conventional buyer? If so, let's get a contractor there as soon as possible to get a renovation bid put together. If using an FHA, VA, USDA, or it's a large conventional project, we need to get that HUD consultant ordered ASAP. Either way, as soon as the home inspector's through, we need to have that either contractor or HUD consultant lined up right afterwards to make our inspection period timeline go as fast as possible. Once either a home inspector has showed up, or a HUD consultant has showed up, or a contractor has showed up to walk with your client, you're hands off. Both of our systems on the contracting side and on the HUD side will keep you up to date. A bid has been sent to your client, the HUD consultant has sent in the paperwork to the lender, we're waiting to close. You will always be notified on what's coming next. So once you make sure that your client has a HUD consultant or a contractor on site, you get to move on to your next deal. Go find another client, go help someone find a house. We've got it from here. At Makeover Homes, we use the Makeover Mortgage Process to make you, the realtor, look really good. You're going to close all your deals. Don't let another home inspection or another, this house is missing a little something, come between you and helping a client find the home of their dreams.